Picture this. You're cruising down a Missouri highway, wind in your hair, tunes blasting, and a 600-pound bear in your passenger seat. Well, you better hope that bear is in a cage, my friend. Because in Missouri, driving with an uncaged bear is illegal. And no, that's not the setup to the world's worst dad joke. It's a real law in the show me state. It's just one gem from a treasure trove of bizarre laws that tell a wild story about Missouri's history. These aren't just quirky rules. They're a hilarious peek into a totally different America. So we dropped Albert Einstein in the middle of Times Square. Let's see how he handles it. First up, a classic piece of legislative side-eye, the Bachelor Tax. In 1821, Missouri lawmakers decided to solve two problems at once. The state was broke, and it was full of single guys. Their solution? A $1 annual tax on every unmarried man between 21 and 50. Now, $1 sounds like nothing, but in 1821, that was a decent chunk of change. This was the government's not-so-subtle way of saying, get a job and a wife. On one hand, it was a cash grab. Lawmakers saw a single man with land and income as walking piggy banks. But it was also an attempt at social engineering, or as I like to call it, government-mandated matchmaking. The goal was to encourage men to settle down, start families, and grow the new state's population. More families meant a more stable society, but the bachelors of Missouri were having none of it. One guy furiously wrote to a newspaper calling the tax the perfection of legislative absurdity. The law was so hated it was repealed just 1 year later. Short-lived, yes, but a perfect example of the government trying to swipe right on your personal life. Alright, back to that bear in the car. It is in fact illegal to have an uncaged bear as your co-pilot in Missouri. You have to imagine this law was written after some very real and probably very sticky incident. Maybe a traveling circus performer's pet got loose and caused a 10-car pileup. It's a simple solution to a very specific, very furry problem. But Missouri's animal weirdness doesn't stop there. In the town of Excelsior Springs, it's illegal to worry squirrels. We don't know what worrying a squirrel entails. Shaking your fist at them. Giving them existential dread? Whatever it is, someone clearly took their anti-squirrel campaign too far, and the city council had to step in. And get this, it's also illegal to wrestle a bear in Missouri. This law bans training, buying, or selling a bear for wrestling. Because let's be honest, in a human versus bear wrestling match, the only thing the human is winning is a trip to the emergency room. This next law is a fossil from a bygone era that still manages to cause trouble today. There's a long-standing rule in Missouri that if 4 or more unrelated women live together, their house can legally be classified as a brothel. This comes straight from 19th century panic, where a group of women living without a man was seen as scandalous and deeply suspicious. While nobody is actually getting busted for this today, it created a bizarre problem for colleges. For decades, many universities in Missouri avoided building official sorority houses. They feared that a house filled with dozens of young, unrelated women could technically be slapped with the brothel label, landing the school in a legal nightmare. So a moral panic from over a century ago ended up dictating housing policies for college students in the 21st century. Some of Missouri's laws are so specific, you just know there's a wild story behind them. In Kansas City, it is illegal to install a bathtub with legs shaped like animal paws. Yes, those fancy antique clawfoot tubs are technically against the law. The origin is a bit murky, but one theory suggests it was to stop furniture makers from using, well, actual animal paws. Let's hope that's just a rumor. The weirdness continues statewide. In the town of Purdy, dancing is strictly forbidden. It's like the movie Footloose came to life. Likely thanks to old school religious beliefs that saw cutting a rug as a one-way ticket to Sin City. Over in University City, you can't have a yard sale in your front yard. It has to be in the back, and you only get 2 per year. This was probably an attempt to keep neighborhoods from looking like a permanent flea market, which is, I suppose, a very specific type of vibe to curate. Finally, let's talk about blue laws. Rules designed to restrict activities on Sundays for religious reasons. Missouri still has a big one on the books that continues to drive one major industry crazy. It is illegal for a dealership to sell you a car on a Sunday. This law is a relic from a time when pretty much everything shut down on Sunday. But here's where it gets truly weird. While you can't buy a sensible family sedan on a Sunday, you can legally buy a motorcycle, a massive RV, or a boat. So, no sensible Honda Civic for you, but that giant lanyard or a speedboat. Go right ahead. Car dealers have been fighting this for years, arguing it's an outdated rule that costs them business, but so far, the ban on Sunday car sales remains. From taxing bachelors to outlawing bathtubs, Missouri's weird laws are more than just trivia. They're legal fossils. They tell us about frontier anxieties, moral panics, and a time when the government felt the need to legislate everything, right down to your choice of plumbing fixtures. Most of these are dead letter laws, still technically real but never enforced. But they're a hilarious reminder of how much society changes, and it really makes you wonder, which of our laws today will people be laughing about 100 years from now? What's the strangest law you've ever heard of in your state or city? Drop it in the comments below. If you love this wild ride through Missouri's crazy legal history, hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure into the quirky past. Thanks for tuning in.